Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Pollstar's new series, Pollstar Live One-on-One. Today, we're joined by Dayglo Presents founder, Peter Shapiro. He is behind Brooklyn Bowl, Capitol Theater, Lockin, a bunch of other stuff. He also organized the Grateful Dead's Fare Thee Well concerts in 2015, and last year, he was named chairman of the nonprofit Headcount. Before we get started, I wanted to thank Pollstar's streaming partner, Prism. Prism is working with thousands of venues and promoters to help them do more with less. Their platform has been helpful to streamline the talent buying process and to replace calendars and spreadsheets with a secure, mobile-friendly platform. Thank you so much for your time, Peter, and welcome.
Hey, Eric.
You know,
good to be here.
Yeah. First, it's
good to be here sitting in my window.
Yeah. Where in the world are you right now?
I'm sitting in my window. 18th Street between 6th and 7th Avenue. Right. I mean, I hope the lighting's okay. Not too many sunspots coming through. But,
I am in Brooklyn.
A little trivia. You see that building right across from me?
Yeah.
We're Pollstar Live Music. So Jim Glancy, who runs Bowery Presents with John North, great man. That's his apartment, like literally the one right across. I don't know if you can zoom in.
I can see. Yeah. So do you guys like wave to each other and stuff at happy hour?
He's upstate. He fled. But if he's watching, and I've been sending him like photos random times, I sit here, this is my living room area, all day. And I look out, basically the chair faces the window. So he's got top level security going on. I'm watching Jim Glancy's apartment. Literally, that's the apartment I look into and making sure, that Jim knows his apartment's safe because I'm doing personal security all day long.
Well, it's kind of crazy because I'm in Brooklyn and I have not been in Manhattan for like 6 weeks or something, it's like a really weird time.
Well, that's why I thought I would do it from the window.
There you go.
I don't know if you can see, so everyone watching can get a little New York City. Actually, you can see there's just no one on the street, like
crazy.
No cars. Normal times we could not do this interview probably with me in the window because there'd be like trucks and honking and noise.
I have a lot of big, trucks will come by my window too and have their, subs going and everything. And yeah, have to put my interviews on mute sometimes. But, thankfully we have things a little quiet to facilitate this.
Where exactly are you?
I'm in Bushwick. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm pretty close to like Brooklyn Mirage and that type of thing. So yeah.
Well, you got some nice posters going, I see. So
yeah, I had to get the Bobby and Phil one in the shot. I know that you were involved.
I hope that's always there. You telling me you just put that up for this interview?
No, it's always there.
Good. Okay, we can proceed.
Yeah. So first off, it's like crazy to think of Peter Shapiro not going to shows right now, and I just wanted to know, how have you been spending your days these last few weeks? What have you been up to?
I mean, you might, every once in a while, I twitch a little. No, I'm moving. I definitely haven't gone this long without seeing a show by a factor of, I usually, like 2-3 days was a long time for me for like 20 years, 25 years. But I miss it a lot, but there's parts I don't like having to deal with all this stuff from the shows. I was in such a pit. We all were like in that circle of just like going.
Yeah.
And even like a few weeks ago, like we were moving shows and going still a bit. And I'm still trying to go to to be always thinking about how to figure things out, what we're going to do. But like, it's really like in this kind of slower period, which I think is probably unusual for everybody. It's weird.
So I wanted to get into that a little bit, just kind of what's the experience been like when your venue started kind of, shutting down, and what's the experience been like of kind of rebooking some of these shows, and what has it been like working with like agencies and management, kind of like what's that whole situation been like for you?
I mean, because everyone's feeling it out. No one knows. It's a weird, that's one thing that's really unusual about a lot of stuff we do. A lot of people don't know, but maybe someone knows, what a band's going to do, what an artist is thinking. Someone knows. We don't really know. We're, multiple offers to get an artist to play New Year's. They can play there, here, or play your festival there. No one knows, but like someone knows. Even if it's the artist knows what they want to do, the manager knows what the artist, here, no one knows. So, but it's one cool thing is like it's very collaborative that way.
Yeah,
everyone's like, got to figure it out together.
Yeah, I've heard that like agencies and management and everything, everybody's pretty much like working together and kind of cognizant that this is just kind of the way it's going to be now.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm doing security for Jim Glancy at Bowery. They're I'm watching this. So we're trying to figure it out, and like also what we're trying to do, since you don't know, like all you can do is like game it out. Maybe like it may be this way, and so okay, so that there's testing needed to enter a venue or festival grounds, like assuming it'll be like a rapid kind of fest, a test that takes 2 hours won't work, but assuming in the fall there's a test, that takes several minutes, like, what would that look like to get people in?
So you've been having those conversations, you've been having those kind of conversations looking at how you might be able to, because the concerns about safety are going to be big when places start coming back, and you've been looking into kind of ways that you might be able to implement various things.
I would say thinking about, I don't know how much yeah, that's what I do. What else are you going to do? Think about like how maybe it might look. And so you can really be ready if it does happen that way. You've already thought it through. Mm-hmm. So I think probably a lot of people are like thinking through, in my venue, usually our venues are different than someone who had like arenas and needs to think through that, or an amphitheater is a different process probably than a Brooklyn Bowl, what that looks like, or the Capitol Theater, or even Lockin. I mean, one thing about Lockin is like we own that land in Virginia, 408, that's different. Being in, the middle of, for a while, it's like, I wish Lockin was a little bit closer to like a city.
Yeah.
Even though it's the beauty is that it's far away, but maybe right now, being in the middle of the Blue Ridge Mountains and being rural Virginia, there's benefit, because like the getting people in with a test, could you do that over a couple of days, rolling entry, and people wait several hours to do the test? I think that's easier if you're going in for 3-4 days for a camping festival, if that could be done.
Because it makes the time investment of the testing a little more worth it, kind of.
Yeah, the test otherwise to go into something and come out, and if you're waiting hour, that's what I think some of this may look like until there's a vaccine. When there's a vaccine, then we're just going to have to be like, make sure everyone, the bar, makes it out of the venue at the end of the night, because they're going to be
it's going to be a real blissed out, exciting time. That's for sure.
Yeah. And especially they're going to have to make sure the venue owner makes it out too. Like, we're all going to be, but we're not there yet. We're in a much more difficult time, but I'm hopeful. I do think when it comes back, it will come back. It'll come back in stages. Some things are going to be more complex, like Broadway, ballet, fine art, opera, the things that appeal to an older audience, fixed seating, tourist-based stuff. That's different, maybe than doing a field in Virginia, or a GA venue is different, and how you think about it probably than a fixed seated venue. And if you have to do reduced capacity, if it's 50% capacity, and I don't know what's going to happen, but like I've just been thinking about like, so what would 50% capacity with entering with a test like just look like? And then you have to think through, when you have seats, what is 50% capacity there? Is it every other seat, every other row, these row, again, you don't know, but I think a lot of people are just thinking about what that might look like.
Yeah, at the outset of this, kind of before everything really shut down, I know that like Stanford basketball or something, they were selling like every third seat was being sold, and it's going to be an interesting conundrum, certainly.
You can hear one good thing is like the kids are learning chores. You can hear some vacuuming slightly in the difference. There's actually a 10-year-old little guy who's never probably vacuumed pre-corona doing some vacuuming. So
it's been a real boom time for various household chores and stuff, for sure.
Yeah, hopefully that sticks. And back to shows, I think I think of boom time for people. I know they've said like how much it meant. You don't know what you have.
Yeah,
It's gone. So this little guy had someone, he was at school, he came back, his room was helped clean, he had to make his bed but not vacuum. Someone else was doing it, but now he is. He was, oh, I missed,
Mm-hmm.
but he, same for us, really. We all had shows. Like I used to, and I'm so glad that I lived a life, I went to every Bonnaroo for 10 years.
Yeah.
This few months, a month or two ago, I went to the Fish Fest for one night in Mexico. Mm-hmm. Just be like, and I'm glad I did that now, because I can, that stays with you for a bit. And I'm glad I would run around, go to Jazz Fest for a day.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been telling people, like, I can't believe that, like, 2 months ago, there was, like, a night where I was like, I'm kind of tired. I just feel like staying in tonight, like, never again going forward.
Right. So some people may not go to shows as much, but I think other people will go more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really go out. And probably the live music kind of world that we're talking about, I think some of that demographic will want it more.
Mm-hmm. One thing I wanted to ask about was that, so obviously this kind of all hit right when the Brooklyn Bowl Nashville was supposed to open, and obviously kind of states are going back about their reopening stuff in different ways, and Tennessee has sounded a little bit kind of ahead of the game. What would it take for you to, whether in Tennessee or New York, what would it take for you to reopen one of your venues?
First thing is, before I say anything, so I don't know.
Yeah.
For sure. Sorry, I don't know for sure, right? Because you don't know. You have to say that no one knows for sure. But I would say, obviously we're going to need the state and the local authorities, because we're all seeing this, right? There's federal, which is different than state, right?
Yeah.
And state, as we're seeing in Georgia right now, is different than municipality and mayor. So in Tennessee, right, we would need federal, and then the state of Tennessee, and then a big one difference is the city of Nashville.
They're different. Yeah, they're a little more stringent than the.
Yeah. Like in Georgia, Atlanta is different than kind of Georgia, right? The Georgia thing is in some areas, not others. Tennessee's coming back, but not the county that has Nashville. And I wouldn't be surprised, at least for us, again, right? I don't know if they'll be tested for, because we'll open first, maybe no shows. One thing about a Brooklyn Bowl kind of setup is we could open, and I think we will, again, I don't want to get, without maybe a show day one, we have a restaurant area, we have the bar area, so we have some flexibility back to like how we're sitting here thinking about different paths, that might be. Just so we're ready, and we can do it safely but get back, so we can have people working and have a place for people. We didn't intend it, but these bowls are pretty big in square footage. And maybe that's a good thing in a post-corona, I want to go hang out with social distancing still in place thing.
Yeah.
But with people, not just in a little bar, so we have these big spaces, high ceilings, lots of cubic space, lots of air,
Yeah.
You might do air conditioning differently for airflow. I mean, it gets to that detail, I think.
Yeah, I was interviewing a epidemiologist a few weeks ago, kind of at the outset of this, and he was saying that there's like special I'm gonna butcher the science behind it, but there's special like rays you can have and like your air conditioning system and stuff to like
yeah.
The virus.
I think there's like UV. Hopefully, I can't wait for like new technology stuff to come out that helps disinfect things, so you could be eating and having like your tuna sandwich and eating, but yes, you can clean if someone come by, but there may be able, while you're eating and holding something you don't want, disinfectant, UV rays. I've seen some stuff.
Yeah.
Like lighting. So it's going to get pretty, I'm sure technology will end up being part of the solution and the model moving forward.
Just got to plug that if anybody wants to submit a question, we're on Facebook, just leave it in the comments and we'll see if we can answer that for you. Sorry, just a second, looking at my questions here. One thing that was kind of interesting to think about when you're talking about kind of almost like a soft reopening of some of these venues, have you considered doing live streamed shows like without an audience or anything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's part of it too. Yeah.
That because that would be really cool, to you obviously do a lot of streaming from the Cap and from Brooklyn Bowl, and to be able to bring that to people.
Yeah, we're not quite ready for that now, but when we are, I think you'll see some of that. But that requires some staffing, and we want to make sure we're doing it in a way. It's like you want to be there first, but you also want to do it right. So we're watching that. We've been talking to a bunch of acts already about coming in and playing to no one maybe in the venue, or very small audience, or no one audience, but playing in the venue and streaming out. And hopefully we're going to do some of that. Then maybe it's playing to a small audience live, right? Way reduced capacity, but beaming it out. Maybe and then hopefully we can. We're looking at all that kind of stuff. I'm glad we wired up all those venues. You know, in Nashville, got hit by the tornado because we're in Germantown, and so then we recovered from that and we were ready to go. We were going to open. The first ticketed show was going to be March 14th. We were going to do something the night before to hang. We had Soul Live with George Porter and then we were doing Phil Lesh's birthday that same weekend, his 80th birthday.
Yeah, that was the first show that I had that was canceled, or postponed. I want to,
right, it was already postponed from Halloween. He had already flown to New York to be here, so they wanted to do it but until we just couldn't. So then everyone was like, then there's when do you postpone? When do you call it? You want to put it on? You want to be safe? But Phil's here, and then it was just at a point.
And I saw that you guys had, the kind of what was going on with those shows was, for people who don't know, was you were doing the unannounced lineup. It was the Phil's, birthday thing, and then you guys had all the merch and everything for this lineup that was unannounced, and you ended up putting it up for charity, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and it did really well. That's cool, and that we had the best merch sales for a Phil run. And we've done 80 shows with Phil in the last 6-7 years at the Cap, 80 for 80 years. People really stepped up. I think they stepped up a lot. People, considering the lack of the uncertainty about the future, just people have stepped up in so many different ways. What's hard is there's so much that needs to be supported.
Yeah, so many beloved artists and charities and all that.
Right. This is good for just Amazon, Netflix,
Zoom.
That was
Hello, Zoom.
Supermarket, and things that are sold in the supermarket because everyone's cooking at home. But that means is there's so many companies, industries that are really hurting together. If there's no concert venues, right? Less beers being sold. And just right without the arenas, there's less Coca-Cola being sold. You wouldn't think about it, right? But Coca-Cola just announced, I think they're not, they're way down because of venues like ours, and Pollstar, think about a lot of Coke, a lot of Jack and Cokes, a lot of Cokes.
Today is Earth Day, so I had to ask about that. You obviously have quite a bit of involvement with it over the years between, Green Apple, the National Mall concerts. Can you tell me a little bit about why environmentalism and music go hand in hand?
And today is the 50th anniversary, and we were planning something big this coming Saturday in DC on the National Mall. And I was fortunate to get to the 40th one on the mall. There's nothing like that. And we were hoping to just, create as much attention to it because it needs it.
We've got Wayne Coyne from Flaming Lips on the cover of this week's Pollstar. He's in a giant bubble in front of the Capitol.
Yeah, the National Park Service was like, we've researched this guy, this Flaming Lips band, and we know what they do with the balloon coming out. You can't do that. You can't go in the bubble. No confetti. And they were literally like, if we see that, we're gonna have to arrest you if you do that. So we told Wayne Coyne, hey, you're gonna get to play in front of the Capitol on the mall. It's amazing, but we can't do the bubble and we can't do the confetti. It's and we're like, really, we cannot do the bubble on the National Mall. It's amazing we can do it because most places don't allow free. Just walk up. You do something big in Central Park, it's it's free ticketed, right? Where they give away, this is an amazing opportunity to free. Let's not screw it, but he got up there on stage as Wayne Coyne. That's why, that's why we love these artists so much, because immediately he got in the bubble.
Yeah.
And he almost got arrested, actually. But listen, look at that sky. I don't know if, there you can see it. It's so blue.
It's a beautiful one out there today.
And I think you're seeing that in a lot of places. I just saw photos of like Delhi in India, like comping 2 months ago or last year, this day and this year. Satellite images of like nitrous dioxide release patterns over the last few months. That's the first truck in our whole interview that's driven by on 18th Street. That's amazing.
Big reduction in emissions.
That's amazing. That just shows how much, we've been going for a little while. It's the first one.
Yeah.
So that tie, guess what? There's less truck exhaust around the world, a lot less. And you're seeing bluer skies everywhere. And you've probably read and seen like animals are coming out all over. And so that's in a way a positive because of a negative. Maybe when this is over, I think not maybe, I think people will realize like things can really get fucked up by nature. Look what's happened. And this is because of habitat stuff and biodiversity. Like when you take away, and it goes back to like the early Lorax story, which is don't cut down the trees, you're going to mess it all up. And without trees, there's less forest. With less forest, animals become closer to humans. And that's kind of whatever exactly happened with this whole situation. There's everyone uniformly agrees like this is because of like animal and human getting too close, right? Yeah. Animal. And so we, and I hope after this, everyone will realize that things can really get screwed up by nature and we have to treat it right. And hopefully when it'll take till a vaccine, but we will get this and solve it,
So you mentioned
climate change.
You mentioned Lorax, and I know that you've got something in the works there. What can you tell us with that?
Just that the story of the Lorax, I've had, when you have quarantine in your home and you were going to produce the 50th anniversary of Earth Day and you're not going to anymore, your brain's thinking about that a bit. And there's stuff all over still today, and a big stream going on. We hope to get some artists, but like it was on my brain about 10 days ago. And the story of the Lorax, like we said, is the story written in 1971, Dr. Seuss, that really is so right.
Yeah.
The Lorax, remember, he speaks for the trees.
So prescient.
And he says, don't cut down the trees. Don't, And so I'm going to try to go back to that original. And you're seeing these amazing performances right now, but a lot of them are at home. So part of the thought is like, how do we get amazing performances, but go into, rather than see people in the living room, just like maybe the visual, let's go to Lorax land, and go to the forest. So that's what we're going to try to bring the book to life, basically, and take those lyrics and make them into music and the songs. But that's coming, yeah.
Bring kind of a modern spin on an old classic that still rings through today.
Yeah, but sometimes, to go forward, often you need to go back or look back.
So I never, Wetlands is before my time, but I know that you had that big, the bus in there, and it was like, that was kind of environmentally aware too at the time, right?
Yeah, the Wetlands the bus was probably a giant pollution emitting.
Yes, of course.
But not when it was inside, was that was cool. That was like I didn't come up with the idea. Larry Block, God bless him, did, which is like, that was the merch booth, was a VW bus. But, Wetlands the idea it was pre-internet.
Yeah.
It started in 1989. And ironically, the person that started it, Larry Block, God bless him, he picked, he's like, I'm going to pick the spot in New York City that I think no one will ever want to live. So at Wetlands, I'm going to pick this spot and it can be there forever. I'm going to pick the exit. Literally, it's at the exit of the Holland Tunnel and entrance.
Yeah.
Perfect. But I, of course, fast forward in Tribeca, New York City, world gentrification, real estate. It lasted 12, 13 years, but now it's like super fancy, lofts right there.
Yeah.
But the idea was like, so it's pre-internet. So if you were running like Rainforest Action Network, or Amnesty International, and you want to get people involved in activism, it's young people usually.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do a lot at Headcount. Yeah. And where do you get young people? Like, where do you get them to meet? At the library, at the school, at the coffee shop, or at the rock club.
The rock club.
Rock, ding, ding, ding. So the idea was before shows, Wetlands had a basement, and, once or twice a week would offer the basement as a place, as a meeting space for groups to host a meeting and invite people to come in and talk about the issues.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really it worked. And then upstairs was this great, the whole place had great vibe. It was not like a classic venue, sightline wise, which made it more of a village. And it was more about the vibe than the sightline. And, but we put on the walls also upstairs during the show, the main room, a lot of information, right? Pre-internet. So you had to do like paper pieces of posters, about information and meetings, right? And on paper signature, stuff. You see, my brain, we've been through so much, sometimes I forget like what that petition. I'm like on paper petitions, and like, but it was a really powerful way to like combine, when it's done right, live music and activism is really powerful. And that's some of the stuff we try to do with Earth Day around, and how Earth Day started in 1970, and just a lot of rock and roll probably in the 60s started. It was about something. So
I was at there's this new, I don't know if you've been to the new Bill Graham exhibit. Now it's closed, I'm sure, but at the New York Historical Society, and they were showing, I had never really, I'm a big Deadhead and I know all Bill Graham, but I never really knew that his first shows he promoted were like, there were some like benefits to get, to get people out of jail or something. I forget what exactly.
Yeah, and he did that Amnesty tour.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Sting and everyone, and like he was always doing that stuff, and I've tried to do the same thing, just learning from Wetlands. And actually one thing we did, like when we built Brooklyn Bowl, we made it LEED certified, because Wetlands was amazing dealing with these issues, but the building and the running of it wasn't. It was hard to find like sustainable like cleaning materials. That, like, the world's much better in 2020 than it was 25 years ago for like cleaning a bathroom.
Yeah.
Started to get right to the bathrooms, but like using material to clean a bathroom, finding environmentally friendly cleaning stuff in 1998 was hard.
Yeah.
In 2020, the technology, it's better. We're not there. And just the ability to do like, the electric hand thing works better. You didn't have to use paper. Now after Corona, that air thing, I don't know what you're going to want to do, because that pushes it, so everything's changing.
It's the ripple effect. Hadn't even thought of that yet. Every time I think
that's what we're thinking through. Like.
Yeah. Just kind of fast forwarding ahead 20 years from those wetland days. Obviously now you mentioned it, you're involved with Headcount as the chairman. Can you kind of tell me, first of all, what's it like at Headcount in an election year? And then,
right.
How has this crisis kind of impacted your plans? I'm sure it kind of did.
Yeah, because Headcount, really the core of the of what Headcount does is go to shows, and have a presence at live shows, whether it's at a club size, theater size, an arena size, festivals. And we've been really proud. Andy Bernstein leading that team is like, so at Bonnaroo, or Lockin, or whether it's ACL or Outside Land, every festival, big presence. Utilize that moment back to like Wetlands. Where do you gather young people? Today's world, gathering on festival shows. Yeah. Same kind of idea, I guess, really. Leverage that, take advantage of that moment when a lot of young people are in one place, and say to them, like, are you registered? Now, at post being registered, if it's a crowd like going to Deadco shows or something where they're older, you would say, like, do you want, I don't know if you saw the David Byrne Broadway thing, but we had Headcount there at every show. That crowd's obviously an older demographic. They're already registered, but it's powerful to say, like, will you pledge to vote?
Yeah.
Will you confirm that you're registered? we were getting into that. We were planning to do a lot of that this summer. You know, now with an iPad, you can, there's the Shake Shack for lunch for Simon Shapiro. Like, her quarantine's rough, but if you're 10 and you get Shake Shack every day, like that's been a big part of like how you make Shake Shack a little better for the kid, which makes it better for you.
Oh, I'm hungry. I haven't had lunch. Don't tease me.
Yeah, that's the way we treat, you know, make sure he behaves. If he doesn't, no Shake Shack. But Headcount, so Headcount's going to be harder now this summer. We got to go really digital, right? There's not going to be a lot of festivals this summer. So everyone has to evolve, you know, and that part's hard. It's not just like, oh, it's pause. It is pause, like I said, but also you have to reinvent, you know. Headcount has to adjust so that we can protect the staff and keep going and like take what we do online. There's still going to be an election on November 3rd. More important maybe than ever, you know, obviously given everything going on, but we're not going to have those shows to go get to touch people in person. So we got to figure that out.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that there's some interesting avenues with all the live streaming stuff and all that, and maybe there's some integration there.
Yeah, if you get on your live chat thing, you see any good ideas, let me know afterwards.
Well, I wanted to ask about Lockin. I'm very excited. I have tickets. I'm very excited. Hoping it still happens. You know, I know that you
have tickets. Nice.
Yeah, well, yeah. Me and my dad. You know, we couldn't resist the Phil Lesh trifecta 80th birthday situation. So, you know, I know that you pushed it from June to October, and are you able to share anything about what that looks like?
I mean, you just, you know, you got to believe in unicorns. You got to believe, you know, you believe. I believe. I think, you know, I don't mean to say I mean that more just see life, you know, with that blue sky today, you know, instead of just we're inside, you know, and be positive. And I do think, you know, I do think we're going to pull Lockin off.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, you know, we don't know every way, but we are really trying. So we would only do it if we can do it right, you know, but again, because we're in that rural area, we control the land, it's 6 months away or 5.5. We really thought about like that weekend, like first weekend, October, you know, weather-wise, it's great. You get much later, later you cannot. We don't want to go much earlier because, you know, we want to get as much time as you can.
Yeah.
But we also want to pull it off, you know, and it'll be needed. Especially like a few weeks ago, we were first like trying, everyone, you know, right when a month ago, let's say when it was still happening, everyone was like, oh, the fall's going to have all these festivals. And now you're seeing actually that most of them, and if we were in a downtown city, you know, we probably would not be trying to do, you know, that's harder.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of like Boston Callings or Gov Ball or Life is Beautiful or Jazz Fest, understandably, and by making the right decision, they're not going to happen this summer. Mm-hmm. So it's on, you know, so.
Yeah, I know that you mentioned the idea of testing if that's robust at that point, and then
we're gonna get a mystery machine. Yeah, that I can't talk about. That is gonna make everything all right. No, we are. You know, I do hope the technology. We are gonna rely a little, like, you know, at Brooklyn Bowl in New York, we have because I think this is a big part of like the concert experience is like entering.
Yeah.
And I think. Like when we did fairly well, a big part of it was we were the last show in July of 2015 and not have to walk through an airport scanner. And then afterwards, after the Paris stuff happened in August, every stadium in America got the airport scanner entry thing. Yeah. We just had to walk, you know, that made a bit of a difference when you walk through something like that. So Brooklyn Bowl, like we wanted to have the scanning thing, you know, in 2020, we have it now, but we got a new technology that you can like walk through. Without having to take out everything in your pocket, your phone, your keys, whatever. You just walk through it. It's searching for like bigger stuff. And it's like, you know, when you hold your hands up at the airport one, but you just can walk through it. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm hopeful listen, we are a long way away from that, but like did you see the airline? I think it was Emirates just announced, came out. And I don't know how effective it is, but they are testing people with like blood sample.
Yeah.
And I'm just hopeful I bet that's not, I don't know what the status of that, and we wouldn't go unless we really knew we could do it right. But we have, some time, a real time for the geniuses to figure it out.
And the Brooklyn Bowls of the world are going to come back online, sooner than the Gardens of the world, so that's kind of exciting.
Okay, I'll have another sip of my drink for that. Thanks. I hope so.
We got a couple questions from the commenters. One wants to know: have you started adjusting the way that you make offers? No more huge guarantees, but doing glorified door deals or bonuses.
Good question. I don't want to get into all like our specifics, but yes, like our things change. Like it's going to be a different world when we come out of this. And I think at every level of the concert business. So clearly, I think at the highest levels, they're looking, the bigger companies, probably Live Nation, AG, are looking at how they make offers and what they look like and the risk exposure for everyone involved.
Yeah.
I think it'll become more partnership based. You could call it a door deal. You could call it, there's different ways. Band probably wants to be like door deal. It's a and like promoter, we'll call it's a partnership. It's both.
Yeah.
But I don't know how long, but certainly some bands need to know, I get it, that they have a certain amount of money that they need to get to like get everyone off the couch, working and their crew. And I feel for smaller mid-range bands. I just thought of this one because we do a lot of shows, let's say with Toots and the Maytals. I love Toots, but Toots comes in, there's 8, 9, 10 people in the band, maybe 8, 3 or 4 crew, 12 coming from Jamaica. Like that has a certain cost minimum to like do the show. Yeah. So he's going to be like, I hope we won't lose, so if we just went to strict only door deal, that may, what does that mean? I don't know, for certain bands that need to know they have a certain amount, but obviously you want to be fair to the venues. Look what they just went through.
Yeah.
I think all that's a moving target, it's moving around. I don't know where to land.
All right, we got another one. If you were it's kind of similar. If you were artist manager, how would you approach tour and performance booking for the next 6 to 9 months?
If I was an artist manager, if I could get dates at a venue in the fall, which may be hard because I would try to get them. Yeah. And then I would ask the venue to hold a backup dates in the spring or summer next year, so if the fall dates couldn't happen, you were ready with backup dates to roll into, try to get the backup dates, because if you go for the fall and for some reason you can't do it, I'd also wonder what size venue. If I was doing an arena band, to be honest, I would just try to book next year. I wouldn't try for the fall. Yeah. If I was talking to clubs, I think I might try for the fall. I think it depends a little bit also on location. You're going to see different parts of America open up to things in stages geographically. I do believe that. But if I was doing arenas and stadiums, I'd be focused probably on next year. I hate to say it. That, but smaller bands, I would go for the fall, but plan for what it might look like if you have to kick the show.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Another one kind of about live streaming. What actual logistics go into live streaming, and what kinds of challenges are there to making streaming options available for every show? I know that you do a lot of streaming at your venue.
Yeah, it's hard to do. I would try to, it's easier when the venue's set up for it.
Yeah. And Brooklyn Bowl is, right?
Yeah, when you set all that stuff up, and it takes a while to like get used to and figure out how to use it. What's the best locations for all the cameras, trial and error. Don't just go live on your first one big, send the stream to your own Facebook and or a hidden thing, because you're going to want to move the angles around and try it. You need to find like a savant who knows how to like direct all the cameras. Shout out to Jonathan Healy on our side, who's like a savant at that for us. You need that.
Yeah.
I think it'll be important. You know, and I think people are gonna be psyched to see live streaming of shows. Right now, it's just so much in the living room.
Yeah.
And the living room's cool, and I think it'll always be there a bit, but it's nothing like seeing a show with a crowd. And we're trying to play, you know, we're doing something with fans.
And yeah, you got the
yeah. And what we're trying to do is like figure out ways, and we're doing trial and error. We haven't even fully announced it and doing it because we're not quite, you know, we're learning how to maybe take people who are home in the stream at home in the Zoom and put them into it. So if you're dancing, you know, in Bushwick, they can be Eric, but we can take you and you're, you know, I know you got your hula hoop and you light up your room, and we could cut to Eric, right, you know, to you dancing around and put you in the stream. We're going to try something cool next weekend. Not this Saturday, but the following with Andy Frasco, who's great, and do a dance party and try to utilize technology to put people at home dancing actually in the stream too, to make it, you know, participatory. So like we're trying stuff like that.
Kind of seeing these you know, unconventional things coming about. I was actually watching a Bob Weir and Wolf Bros show from Capitol Theater that was streaming on Nugs, I think. So it was awesome. It felt like I got to be there even though I wasn't, you know.
No, I'm glad we shot all those shows.
Yeah.
And have them.
We're almost up with time, but we got a couple kind of more fun ones here. Who haven't you seen who you want to see? And what's the ultimate all-star lineup? I think you've seen most people.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think. You know who I have never seen? I mean, you know, maybe I saw him at a TV tape. I don't know why. I don't think I've seen Aerosmith.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't think I thought of that the other day. I was going to see them in Vegas. Sorry, that's the Shake Shack getting ready.
I can smell it.
Aerosmith. That's one. And the ultimate band, I mean, I was fortunate to see in London, and I said this the other day. I don't know. I just, maybe one day it'll happen, maybe because of this stuff, but like, I just want to see Led Zeppelin. If I could go to any show, just maybe because it reminds me of early albums you had in Zeppelin 4 and just Stairway to Heaven. You know, that's, if I could just go to any show, that's what I would just want to go to.
I saw Plant at the Beacon a couple years ago, and he still got it. He's awesome still.
Plant's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know about their whole, and I've been fortunate to do shows with him. He's awesome, and that's just the one. And it may not happen. You know, getting to do the Fare Thee Well is like part of the excitement of a mega thing like that is the end to the show, the lead in.
Yeah.
One cool thing about technology, there's good and bad parts, Facebook, all that. One good thing is like the sharing of excitement pre-show.
Yeah.
You know, and an event show or a destination show or a festival, you talk to your friends, you're going. That was part of like Dead Tour that was fun. Even pre-internet, like planning it and like doing the tickets, you know, the mail order and designing your end. Like I wish like that was a cool part of Fare Thee Well. It was like the planning and the thinking and the dreaming, and then it's always, and then it lasts after talking about it for a little while. Like it's not just those 3 hours, 4 hours of the show. It's the planning.
Now you've got kind of the tail of it, the tail effect with also, you know, so many of the shows are, you know, you can go home and download the soundboard recording and all that and kind of get, you know, yeah.
But there's nothing like, as we're all experiencing, it's funny, like we're Pollstar, like there's so many people who, you know, are in our world who have never gone this far without seeing a show.
Yeah.
Because we're all fit, you know, and that's the best part of like the gig is like, it's not the daytime stuff dealing, play it, you know, it's the show, you know, and it's not right before a show when you're dealing, it's like, it's the show. And after you have to deal them before, but like the show is great, you know, but it's fun when you're a fan and you're planning to go to the show. That part is sharing what you're going to like do, or you're going to meet beforehand, where you're going to stay, what you're going to do the night before. That's fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did 2 nights at the Gorge for Dead and Co. last summer with my dad and the best man from his wedding, and it was just it was a whole party.
Yeah, that's the good. That's the fun. That's why actually the Fairly we made it big because it was like destination come weekend, like
Yeah,
that stuff's really fun after the whole at the hotel, at
the
the
whole shebang.
bar, or after show, when you can make it a full experiential thing. That's why at the bowl, actually, every weekend we do a show and then a late show. And actually at Wetlands, one of the things, that lounge downstairs, we added like shows. So there was like the upstairs show, downstairs show, just village, and like it's fun at Lockin to go to the forest afterwards. So speaking of, I just saw Electric Forest, unfortunately not going to happen, but like
Yeah.
that was fun going. I love that forest. Forests and lasers are good always.
All right, I got one more for you. Somebody in the audience wants to know if you had to pick one Grateful Dead song that's especially relevant or comforting during these times, which one would you pick?
Sugar Mags, just because so positive. Sugar
Yeah.
Mag, when you think of that, you don't think about being inside.
Yeah.
When I think of Sugar Mags, my first song of the Dead, I love Sugar Magnolia blossoms blooming. And it's just you're outside.
Yep.
You're
especially
not.
if the weather's getting nicer and all that.
Yeah. You're outside. That's And it's funny when I think of like my favorite Dead stuff. Even though I've got the Cap, and I'm looking at your We Are Lesh duo show at Radio City we did. Chicago Theater was awesome. The Cap. It's outdoors for me.
Yep.
It's summer tour. It's outside a lot. Back to like pre-show, post-show experience. These streams are good, but they don't have that.
There's nothing like a summer Dead show, that's for sure.
No.
Well, I'm hoping that we get back on it soon, and I'm hoping to see you at Cap or Brooklyn Bowl or Lockin somewhere.
We will. We'll see.
Sure, we'll get
it's
back.
coming.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be. We're gonna whatever it takes.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it, and so I'll see when we're there. We'll do a tequila shot.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much
for your time. Tequilas.
Thank you so much for your time, and one last thing. I wanted to know if you had any whether it's like your staff's like GoFundMe or any charities you wanted to plug or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean the staff's the Cap, the Bowl, the like bartenders and security. There is GoFundMe's for each would be great, and we've supported it. And people have been amazing, and I'm proud that we have a lot of our team still doing it. That's part of this. How long can you keep the team ready, going on, paid? But I would say Headcount.
Yep.
Because it starts there. We've seen that with government matters. Government can help. Look how much right now, and maybe that'll change some minds. People are relying on that.
Yeah.
And seeing when it works well, how important that is, and when it can support. And we need it ready to support. In lots of ways, with knowledge. Having the smartest people prepping for what a pandemic might look like in advance and being ready for that with equipment and all that, then you have to have government involved to just cut it and get rid of it. Then you're going to be maybe not prepared. So we have to be prepared.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, thank you again for your time. I wanted to thank our streaming partner one more time, Prism. They're a really cool platform streamlining the talent buying process. So thank you to Prism, and thank you again for your time, Peter. And stay safe.
Thanks, Eric.
Enjoy the Shake
Thank
Shack.
you, brother. Thanks.
All right, talk to you later.